Hi there. It's July the 1st, and we're continuing our journey through the Acts of the Apostles, Luke's sequel to his Good News. And we're in chapter 21, and we're reading from verses 1 to 21. Paul is on his return journey from his last ministry tour that he sees to Greece and also to Turkey. And we left him in our last reading at Miletus. And from Miletus, he gets into a boat and he sails across the Mediterranean. And the boat is calling off, he calls at Tyre, and at Tyre on the southern Turkish coast, they change boats, they get another boat across that sails past Cyprus and comes over to Tyre in Phoenicia. Tyre is on the coast of what is now Lebanon and Syria, on the coast that is at the eastern end of the Mediterranean. And at Tyre, he spends a week with some believers there. Now, these believers here, in their worship of God and in the Spirit, they hear that Paul should not go to Jerusalem. Remember that Paul wanted to get to Jerusalem, we read earlier, in time for Pentecost, in time for Shavuot, one of those three celebrations of the Jews, where Jews come together in Jerusalem. And Paul is making for Jerusalem at this time. But these people say he's going to be in danger if he goes there. Now, the interesting thing is, it says here, Luke says they hear this by the Spirit, but Paul is determined to go, and he leaves them, and they are praying for him, and they are brokenhearted that he's going. And then from Tyre, Paul and his friends travel down to Ptolemais on a boat, and then they go from Ptolemais overland, it seems, to Caesarea, which is just on the coast as well. And at Caesarea they stay with Philip, and Philip we're told, has 4 daughters who all prophesy. And while they're staying at the house of Philip, another prophet comes who we've met before, Agabus, who prophesied a famine that there was going to be. And Agabus comes to Caesarea, and he takes Paul's belt and he wraps it around his hands and his feet, and he says the one to whom this belt belongs is going to be captured by the Jewish authorities and is going to be handed over to the Gentiles. And so they all plead with Paul, not to go. And Paul responds very straight. He says, look, that I am ready to go to Jerusalem, even to die for the sake of the Lord. If this is what the Lord wants, I'm not afraid. I'm in the Lord's hands. I just want to do what God wants me to do. And so the others around him say, well, the Lord's will be done. What's interesting is we're going to see that when Paul gets to Jerusalem, he is indeed going to be handed over to the Gentiles, but not in a way he thinks, and actually a way which is going to lead to his further adventure rather than to curtail it. But Paul goes then to Jerusalem and stays with the brothers and sisters there, and they welcome him. It's important to see from this story that although Paul is in danger, he is not afraid. And often we will be risk averse, particularly in our day and age and culture. We don't want to be in danger. But Paul is clear here that he's serving the Lord and he will not be put off. The Lord can protect him. The Lord can defend him. And so he goes, and we need to be prepared to go even to places of risk, even to places of danger, if this is where God is leading us, trusting that he knows our way and that he can keep us by his power. Have a very good July the 1st.